His hand.
Mr. Wichert, would you please step up to the witness? We're having a seat, so would you please stop raising your right hand?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you. Please be seated. Garski, you may proceed.
Connor, would you give your spell your first and last name just for the record?
CONNORWICHERT.
All right, and directing your attention back to February of 2023, was there an incident? Were you involved in some sort of accident or something along those lines?
I've been run over by a car on my motorcycle.
All right, you were injured?
I split my jaw in half and my whole body went underneath both of the tires on the passenger side.
What happened? What did they have to do to repair your jaw?
There's two plates in it that hold it together, and then there had like a bunch of wires in there, and I don't know what the wires were doing. That's what Morgan had been talking about. She removed some of the wires going through my mouth.
And
And then stitches too.
when did that all eventually get removed?
I still have all the plates, everything.
So you got, for lack of a better term, a glass jaw?
Yeah. I mean, it's stronger now, but it took about like a year and a half where like I actually had full function.
What would have happened if you would have kept the punch to the face?
I would have immediately had to go to the hospital. I would have been messed up. I had to have my jaw completely reconstructed.
So all that happened before this incident with Nate?
Yes.
About how long before?
A couple months prior.
So you're still kind of recovering when this incident happened?
Yes. I didn't have very good mobility at the time. I couldn't really turn my head. The last thing I wanted was to get in a fight.
So can you speak up a little bit? So
Absolutely.
thank you.
You might just scooch up a little bit. And now we heard some testimony that you were a Marine. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And when did you serve?
Right after high school, about 2015 to 2018.
All right. Now, going back to February 25th, were you working that day or what happened?
I picked up some extra hours. I worked until like 1:30, and then I showed up at that Bottoms Up like 15 minutes before they closed. And
All right, so just back up. Where were you working?
thumb tool.
And what do you do for them?
I was working on a lathe, CNC operator.
Okay, and you worked until about 1:30 the next morning?
Yeah, like that morning, like right before the bar closed.
All right, so you were coming, so when you went to Bottoms Up, you were coming right from work.
I might have stopped at home. I'm not sure.
And where were you going to Bottoms Up for?
Josh was up there, and we had been working at Thumb Tool together. And he had said that he was up there, so I decided to go meet up with him.
Did you drink anything before you went?
No, I was at work.
Did you have anything to drink at Bottoms Up?
No, I went in on a 6-pack, and I never actually had a drink there.
You took a 6-pack that you could take home?
Yeah.
Did you meet anyone there besides Josh?
Yes.
And who was that?
Morgan was in there, and I don't really remember her friend, but she, at the time, she had been coming over to my house like a couple times a week with her friends, hanging out after the bars closed.
Is she Morgan?
Yeah.
So if she said this other friend was Ashley, does that ring a bell?
Yeah, Ashley had come over there, but I don't think it was that night. I think it had been like the night before, maybe.
Okay, so but recently she had been there.
Yeah.
But that night, how many people leave the bar to go back to your place?
Jimmy, Nate, Josh, and Morgan.
All right, so
They all said that that girl was there, so she must have come at some point, but maybe she left.
at some point she might have been there.
Yeah.
All right, and how did you get there?
I drove my pickup.
Anybody drive with you?
I think Josh rode with me. I think that was it. Morgan drove herself because she took Nate back in her vehicle, so her vehicle was definitely there. And then Jimmy drove Nate.
All right, so Nate got there from Jimmy,
Yes.
so he didn't drive himself.
No.
Did you see Nate at the bar?
Yeah, him and Jimmy were outside smoking when I got there.
And were you say smoking cigarettes?
Both.
Both mean marijuana?
Yeah.
And you could see that they were smoking marijuana?
Yeah.
Did Nate appear intoxicated when you saw him at the bar?
I mean, not more than usual.
Okay, so nothing too bad. He wasn't like falling down drunk or anything like that.
No.
So everyone goes back to your place. And how long does Jimmy stay?
Jimmy stayed for probably an hour.
So it's about 2.
Maybe less than an hour, actually. Jimmy wasn't there long.
All right, and Jimmy was Nate's ride,
Yes.
and Nate didn't leave with Jimmy?
No, Jimmy kind of did the whole, what is it, the French goodbye?
Did the
Or the Irish goodbye, where you just don't say goodbye, you just kind of disappear.
It's kind of loud.
Yeah.
Did you have any idea how Nate would have been getting home?
No, I don't believe he had a vehicle at the time. I don't think he could drive.
All right, what do you, when Jimmy leaves, is Ashley still there or no?
Definitely not.
So
She was there. She was only there momentarily. Beginning.
So once Jimmy leaves, it's Nate, Morgan, Josh, and you.
Yes.
All right, and at some point Josh goes somewhere?
He went to bed. Went to bed in my bedroom, in the back of the house.
And where's that at?
So like he got the kitchen, which connects to the living room. That living room connects to a hallway. And that hallway leads to the bedroom. Both bedrooms and the bathroom.
All right, and is there 2 bedrooms out there?
Yeah, I actually have a thing written of the whole design of the house over there. Will clearly show how the house floor plan is completely laid out.
In preparation for trial, you did a map of the house?
Yeah, it's not pretty, but it is accurate.
Would that be the map?
Yes.
Does that adequately and accurately reflect the layout of the home?
Yes.
And move for the admission of people or dependents to the one.
No, yeah. They defendants wanted to.
All right, so when you say Josh went to bed, you're talking this bedroom up here?
Yep.
So living room over here,
Yes.
that's where you, Morgan, and Nate were.
Yeah, at one point, yes.
Okay. When Josh goes to bed, is that where you are?
We were in the living room and the kitchen. We started out in the living room, ended up in the kitchen at the dining room table.
At some point, everything moves to the dining room table?
Yes.
All right, and what's the plan there? Why move to the kitchen?
We were going to play cards. We were going to play like King's Cup, I believe, or something like that. Just drinking games with cards.
So you, Nate, and Morgan all go?
Yep. We're all sitting at the table.
All right, and there's 4 chairs around the table?
Yes.
All right, which one would you have been sitting at?
I was sitting at the top one.
Top
No,
one?
Nathan was at the top one. I was at the one next to the staircase. Yes.
This one here?
Yep.
This is the stairs that goes upstairs or downstairs?
Stairs starts at the other side.
Oh, it starts over here?
Actually, yeah, there is a basement door at there too. Yeah.
Oh, the kitchen.
Yep.
All right, so Nate's here, you're here, where's Morgan?
Morgan was at the seat across from Nate,
Down here?
but at some point she must have went to the living room. I could have swore she had been sitting there though.
Okay, so she was there at some point, but she may have moved to the living room.
Yes.
Do you and Nate have any arguments that night?
We weren't necessarily arguing. It was like, just out of nowhere, he would get like mad and he would say like stories. Like he was saying that I tried to rob him, like in high school, and he chased me off with a knife, which never happened. Like he brings up this whole Marine thing where I got out of the Marines and he attacked me. I don't think that ever happened either. I don't think I ever saw him when I got out. I was only here momentarily.
So there's none of these stories that he brings up.
Yeah, I have no idea where
Do
he's.
you call him out on the stories when he brings them up?
I did that night, yes. And that's what was getting him so frustrated.
So he was getting mad with you that you called him out on it?
Yeah, but he did end up calming down.
All right. And that was in the living room, correct?
Yep.
All right. Does that continue once you go into the kitchen?
Went to the kitchen, everything was fine, and then just out of nowhere, he just started like blowing up about it again. It was like, he was like, "You fucking did it." I remember him saying that.
So
And he was getting real pissed and like he stood up over top of me. I was at the table.
he's at the table and you say stood up over top of you. Personal approach.
You may.
Are we, when you say stood up over top, you're sitting in a chair?
This is the table. I'm sitting like this. He's standing right there.
So right in front of you.
His chair's right there.
And what happens when he gets up in front of you?
He ended up grabbing me by the collar,
So 2
pulling me up
hands
out of the chair,
and pulls you up.
then slammed me into this table.
And what happens to the table when that happens?
The table was done. destroyed.
When you say done, it broke?
Yes.
And as you two go to the ground, then what happens?
I believe I rolled him. I believe I like pulled him in tight and rolled, got him onto his back. And we were rolling around for a minute. And I did not want to be fighting at this point. He keeps going off about how we had some friendly wrestling match. I had my jaw split in half and got ran over by a car right before this. Like there was in no condition to be fighting anyone. That was the last thing I wanted.
So what are you saying to him when this is happening?
I don't think I was really saying much. I was just like, other than I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I told him to leave my house before the altercation started. When we were sitting at the kitchen table, he started freaking out again. And I was like, you got to go, man. Like you're freaking out.
Can I make him more mad?
I think he didn't even hear it. I don't think he was sane in that moment.
So eventually, when you're rolling around, that fight stops.
Yes.
Now what happens? You just finally get impinned?
He like laid on the ground for like a minute or two after this. Probably like not quite a minute because it was enough time. I went back to the bedroom.
Let's just look before we get to that part. So you're wrestling, does he just stop? Stop trying to grab you or what?
Well, when I rolled him over and got him like onto his back, I had his head. So I mean, I could have choked him at that point, but I wasn't trying to. I was just being like, zit, like stop, like, and he just kind of laid there, started making some weird noises, like.
And that's when you got up off him?
Yeah.
All right, so you get up off him and then what do?
He's sitting there like just making weird noises and just laying there like he's just freaking out. Like I don't know how to even explain it. I go back to the bedroom to go get my buddy Josh because I was like, we gotta get this guy out of the house. Like he's freaking losing it. And go back to the bedroom, try to wake up Josh.
Just so we're looking here.
Yeah, that's right.
Back one here where Josh was?
Yep.
Now, when you go around the hall here, when you're in the hallway, can you see into the kitchen at that point?
No.
All right, so you can't see Nate at that point.
No.
All right, and do you hear anything?
When he got up, he yelled, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Do you hear him say, I'm gonna fucking kill you?
Yeah, and I was in the bedroom at this point.
And when he yells that, is he joking around like, hey, we're just drinking and let's just wrestle for fun?
Absolutely not. He was pissed.
So you felt he was coming for you.
Yes.
And then what do?
I had my bat was laying right next to the door and I grabbed it upside down and I walked out into the hallway.
So this is the bat?
Yep.
There's no question this was the bat.
Yes, that's bad.
So you grabbed it upside down, saying like this?
Other way.
Yeah, like this.
And then I was holding it by the top in my left hand. It wasn't in my right hand either.
All right, so you're like this in the hallway?
Yep.
You have it on the ground or you have it up?
On the ground.
All right, so you have it kind of on the ground like this.
I had it like sitting like this facing him.
And you can see him come around the corner?
He stood at on that picture, you can see the arch that goes into the kitchen from the living room. He walked through that arch and was standing right there. And he saw me standing in the hallway and like we looked at each other and he just charged.
He charged, he runs at you?
He literally ran right at me. He wasn't even like, it was just
He could see this
completely,
in your hand.
yeah, like he
No question, he could see it.
definitely
We
saw
need, we
that.
need to have a question and answer, we'll interrupt each other.
Okay.
Just have a little break. Go ahead, counsel, ask your question.
So no question, when he comes around that corner and he sees you, he can see you with this.
Yes,
And he still charges you.
yes.
What do you do at that point?
I put my shoulder down. When we collided, he connected with my shoulder. And I went into the wall.
You still one hand on the bat?
I just went holding the bat like this.
Okay, so you get that second hand on it and you put your shoulder brace for impact
Yep.
and he hits into you.
Yes.
And then what happens?
I went like this.
You come up with the bat.
Yeah. I was probably down like this. And he's like up here. I was like up into his head.
So when we see the injuries
Yes.
that were likely he got hit in the face.
That's the only time I believe he got hit. Other than,
In the face.
yeah.
And then what happens after you come up and hit him?
He went down to his knees and he started grabbing my legs, trying to like take me down to the ground. And
So he is now on the ground from the first hit, but he is not quit.
yeah, he's not
He's
done.
still trying to take you to the floor.
At no point in time did he.
And that's when you hit him.
Yep.
Is it a one-handed hit or do you hit two hands?
I think I hit him like twice and he kept coming. I think I hit him again. He kept grabbing my legs, hit him again. and he stopped at some point, and that's,
Do you feel if you didn't have this bat, he would have kept coming at you?
yeah, he still came at me after all that. He went to the bathroom, sat in the bathroom for like an hour or two, left the bathroom and immediately charged me in the living room.
All right, so after the incident with the bat, the bathroom is right there off the hallway, correct?
Yeah.
So is that the bathroom that Morgan takes him into?
Yes.
And about how long are they in the bathroom?
About an hour or two.
Can you hear anything from the bathroom?
I don't remember what was said. I know he was pissed though.
Did you hear him yelling?
I wouldn't say he's yelling, he just kept like saying crazy stuff. He was
So,
kind of like
you might
coming in
not
and
be
out of
able
it.
to-
Like,
Go ahead.
he was almost like coming in and out of it. Like he'd be normal for a second and then he'd be like kind of losing it for a minute and then he'd be normal for a second.
But to you, from you couldn't hear what he was saying, but it sounded like he was still mad.
Absolutely. Yeah. He was definitely still mad.
All right, and at some point, he then comes out of the bathroom?
Yep.
And what happened when he comes out of the bathroom?
I was sitting on the couch and he came out of the bathroom and I think he said, "I'm gonna hurt you bad for that." And like he came at me and I think I just pushed him onto the ground and he just fell on the ground. And I went into the basement at this point. I just sat in the basement until he left pretty much. I think he was still there for like another hour or two after the third altercation.
Did
I just sat in the
Josh,
basement.
Josh ever come out of the bedroom?
Yeah, he came after the bat incident, like immediately after.
And do you know what Josh did?
Josh kept trying to get him to leave the house, trying to get Morgan to take him home. He wouldn't leave the house. He wouldn't go home. He wouldn't go to the hospital. He was on a mission.
Did you ever encourage him to go to the hospital?
Yes, I did too. I offered to drive him myself too at one point.
Now, have you known Nate for a while?
Yeah. We went to the same school together. He was a year above me growing up.
So Nate talks about the situation with you two in the past. Does Nate have a reputation for violence?
Yes, he's always been.
So in your opinion, is he getting a lot of fights?
Yeah, he does.
No further questions. We already have published,
Issue. Cross-examination, excuse me.
I would ask if the publication of the exhibit be paused during the course of the cross-examination so that the jury can give attention to the exam.
Or they can take a look at it first, and when they're done,
Perfectly fine.
Members of the jury, please raise your hand if you've not had an opportunity to see defendant's exhibit 1. See no hands, everyone has observed it. You may begin your cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Sir, on February 26th of 2022, did you reside at 319 North Stanley Street?
Yes, sir.
Is that in the city of Bad Axe,
Yes,
Brown County?
yes,
And we heard testimony about this incident that took place that evening. Had you been drinking?
yes.
How much had you had to drink over the course of the evening, would you say?
I would guess 4.
And at some point, you testified that there's this first altercation between you and Mr. Lasowski in your home, correct?
My only testification I've given is the one I just gave right now.
Okay, so I'm asking for clarification, if you wouldn't mind. There was Mr. Lasowski referred to it as a wrestling match. You referred to it as something different. Do you recall your testimony as to that?
Yes,
Okay. And so you testified that you pinned him to the ground, correct, Mr. Lasowski?
yes,
And at that point, you stopped with the wrestling match or altercation or whatever it was, correct?
yes,
And you went to your bedroom.
yeah,
And it was at this point that you testified that you were concerned for your safety because of this operation that you had or this injury that you had sustained earlier, correct?
the accident, yeah, because of that,
You were concerned that fighting might make that worse. Is that fair to say?
there's no might.
Would
It did make it worse.
Okay. So you went to your bedroom after this altercation out in the kitchen?
Yes,
Okay. And did you call 911 at that point?
I wish I had.
Was that a no?
Yeah,
You have to answer out loud.
it's a, no,
So you did not call
I
911?
did not call 911.
Okay, even though you were in fear for your personal safety?
There wasn't time to really be thinking
Okay.
like that.
Now, you testified that Mr. Lasowski and Morgan went into the bathroom for an hour or two, correct?
After the bat,
After the fact. And was there time then to call 911 for help?
I didn't really want to call the cops on him. I figured he would just leave at this point.
But you were in fear for your personal safety, correct?
At this point,
At the point you used the
when I was sitting on
bat,
the couch, no, I used the bat, yes. We were talking about after the bat.
but you never called the police for help, correct?
No.
You took it into your own hands, correct?
At the time that I grabbed the bat, there was no time to have called the police. It was
No time to call the
constantly
police at all?
hectic until after the bat. There had not been an opportunity until after.
But you didn't take that opportunity, did you?
I should have, after,
Is that a no?
clearly,
Sir, you've mentioned during your testimony several times that you were in the United States Marine Corps. Is that correct?
yes,
How did your service to the Marine Corps end?
not great.
What does that mean, sir? What was the nature of your discharge from the Marine Corps?
I had bad
Honorable
conduct
discharge?
discharge.
I'm sorry.
Bad conduct.
Thank you.
I did not get a dishonorable though.
So you testified that you used this item, this trading bat, to defend yourself against Mr. Lasowski because you were frightened for your personal safety due to this injury, correct?
Yes,
And you testified that you hit him once and the first time was possibly in the head or in the face?
after seeing his injuries, it has to have been.
Okay. And so were you still defending yourself after you hit him the second time?
I was defending myself at all times.
You weren't defending yourself at all?
I said I was defending myself at all times.
Oh, so the answer to the question is yes then? Because I asked you if you were still defending yourself after you hit him the second time.
Yes,
Were you still defending yourself after you hit him the third time?
yep.
Fourth time?
I don't know the number of times, but at no point in time was I not defending myself. And at no point in time was he not attacking me.
So it took this metal bat in order to defend yourself.
With my jaw split in half, my body all messed up, yes, it did.
At what point did you no longer fear for your personal safety, sir?
When he left, I hid in my bedroom or my basement until he left my place.
Did you call
Hours
the police
later.
when you were hiding in the basement?
No, I did not.
Thanks. Nothing further.
Read the record.
Connor, after the incident in the kitchen, and before the incident in the back, about how long had it take you to walk down that hall?
Like seconds.
All right,
Well,
so,
he would have been on the ground. breathing like crazy. I go to get Josh. I'm trying to wake Josh up. This is a matter of like 10, 20 seconds before he's getting up and coming at me again.
So real quick time between the first incident and the second incident.
Yes, there was no like pause.
Obviously hindsight being 2020, if you could have called the cops after the second incident, you would.
Yes,
Do you have the intent to put Nate Wasecki in the hospital that night?
no,
Do you have the intent to cause him great bodily harm?
no, I tried to do, at no point in time was my intent to hurt this man. Like, I just wanted him to stop attacking me. I hadn't even realized how much damage had been done to him until I had seen those pictures. But at no point in time was my intention to mess him up. I mean, I'm a 240-pound man.
No further questions. Aaron.
Sit down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's your next witness.
No further witnesses, Your Honor. Defense will rest.
Thank you.
People have no rebuttal witness, Your Honor.
Very well. Members of the jury, we'll reconvene momentarily. Again, instructing you again not to discuss the case or look up any aspects of the case. We'll reconvene in just a few moments. Thank you. All right.